Here we are, another edition of United to Debate. You know me, Vivek.
I'm Sujata.
Today's discussion, or debate rather, will be about workplace and life balance. Um, there's a employee who works in finance and accounting at a fast food giant conglomerate, and he writes a blog advocating for a clean and organic diet consisting of fresh fruits and vegetables. Does he, by engaging in his blog, undermine his contribution to his employer? I'll go first, and we'll have one answer each, 1 minute each to answer the question. In terms of being associated with an organization of any formal kind, like an employer and an employee, the form of representation or the exchange of representation is very clear. You represent the company doesn't represent any single employee, it represents employees all collectively, so indirectly. But we, as an employee, when we take out our visiting card and hand it over to a client or a customer, it says clearly em- our employer's name. Whereas when a company has an event, it does not ever say em, em, representing X and X employee. It represents everyone as a group. So this clear demarcation of us representing our company directly and the employees within it indirectly, because when we say we are working for X, we don't ever say we're working for X and we also represent our hiring manager or chief executive or vice president. We never quote them in representing them, only the company. And the company never represents any single employee because you never know the name of all employees. So it's all a collective pool. And if you want to go further and look at it, when you are employed, you are equally liable for the performance of the company, no matter your role in it or no matter your specialization. Just because you might be in finance and account and do not handle marketing of the direct product does not mean that the overall health and well being of the company does not affect you. Your payment is coming from the overall health of the company, and anything that jeopardizes that would jeopardize your employment and your career prospects.
Okay, so here are two things which I would like to point out. When you are in a corporate company and a structured one at that, irrespective of your designation, irrespective of your role, the fact that you belong to an organization has got some terms and conditions, and it has contracts and appointment letters and the corporate do's, don'ts, regulations. So unless there is a breach of trust, like in this case, I think the person is well within his rights on a personal level to air his views. If he is writing a blog or he is writing this thing as just his name and he's giving his viewpoints, there's nothing wrong with that, because he is not saying I'm a manager or a vice president of so and so company, and then he's trying to say, if he would do that, then yes, there would be a conflict of interest, because what he does in his personal life and what he eats in his personal life, definitely it has got nothing to do with the company. If it's a fast food joint, he doesn't have to eat the fast food at home. It's like, when you have a restaurant or you have these fine dining, you think that all the chefs and all, they have the fine dining food at home. No, they don't. Because I know chefs, they go home and they cook the simple home cooked meal that they are used to. They might stand in the kitchen and they might give their clients all gourmet kind of dishes, and they might just at best taste it. But it's not a routine food for them. So once the apron is off, once the cap is off, they go home and they cook simple foods. cooked
But
by
you're
themselves or their wives. In this case here, if he's writing a blog and he eats healthy food, organic food, there's nothing wrong if he's advocating a healthy eating just because he works in an
but
unhealthy kind of an environment.
but your decisions for your personal choice are one thing. Advocating it for people who could also be customers of your employer is another matter altogether. Um, when you're when you're making personal decisions outside of office hours, it doesn't mean office hours are hours that you give to your company as professional work, but your employment contract doesn't end or doesn't get suspended as soon as you leave, um, you know, the office for that day. You still are employed 24/7, and so you have an obligation not to advocate something that could be detrimental to your employer, because that would also be detrimental to you.
I don't agree because in your personal time, what you do, in your personal time, what you advocate is your business. If you do not put your designation and your affinity or your with the company, then you can definitely say what you want. You
But
don't have to wait. You don't have to leave the environment, go home and continue with your job there. It's not. It's a different person who goes home. For example, people in United Nations, for example, who are strictly governed by the very stringent rules and regulations, even when they speak or advocate something, they always speak and say these are the personal views of ourselves, and it has got nothing to do with the government that they're. For example, if I know one person who is right now in China, and his views are contradictory to what actually China would want, but he is saying
yes,
that, and he's clearly saying these are my personal views.
but he's not employed by China. He's
He's
a
not
part.
employed by China, but if you have gone as a representative of United Nations to China, then you are bound by following that country's rules and regulations.
I think um, it's very cut and dry in terms of, if you if you do not agree with your employer's product or service, you can always change your job. Why do you need to write the blog? Instead of writing the blog, you can go and work for an employer that has
Do it.
ha, that has a shared ethos.
Sorry, I don't agree. I'll give you another example, and I think I'm doing very well in giving you examples which you may not wish to accept and agree, but they are very sound examples. For example, if you're in the tobacco industry and you are, you know, dealing with cigarettes or whatever the tobacco products are, it's not necessary that you have to be a smoker. You could be dealing with that. That's a job which you do, and it ends at that. Doesn't mean that you have to also smoke or use your products to the detrimental cause of your health. You don't have to play around with your health. You could be doing that and you will still not be smoking.
I
Does
guess
not mean it does not mean that just because you are associated with that industry, so you have to smoke.
I guess we agree to disagree. Anyway, I think the
That's
viewers
the
can.
that's the that's the essence of having a debate.
Yep, that's true. Let the viewers decide, and please leave your comments. And if you want to participate in a debate, um,
Let us
please,
know. We would be happy to
yeah, please
have a
feel
new
free.
face.
Please feel free to nominate yourself or someone you think will will provide us with good answers. Thank you.